Hey, William, and you're on time.
Yo. Okay, thank you. Andy, good morning. How are things?
Good, William. How are you?
We're good. We're good. We're very excited up here. What's the mood down in Cape Town?
Yeah, it's similar, mate. There's a good buzz around the group. We were, I think we were all tired when we landed on Wednesday, but we had a good sleep Wednesday night, good sleep yesterday, and there's a real energy around the group there today. So, bit of Galway weather at the moment, although the sun's now shining. But this morning it was a bit of rain and a bit of wind, a fair bit of wind actually. But I think tomorrow promises to be okay.
Yeah, have you been to the ground yet to have a look at the situation with the pitch and stuff?
Not yet, mate. We're actually doing our captain's run there this afternoon. So we're heading out in about 2 hours' time. 2 hours' time. We're going to head out and do our captain's run there. So we'll have a look at it. Like we've been reading what everyone else has been reading, that the pitch is, or the surface is not great, but at the same time, it's beyond our control, that one. So we'll wear the appropriate footwear and we'll deal with it as the Stormers will.
Unchanged 23. I'm tempted. I don't know whether that's a record. There's usually always one change, but were you tempted at all to make any changes to the starting 15 of the 23, or did that come into your heads?
Not. I mean, there's always good discussion around that. So there was healthy discussion. Again, I just thought the performance of that 15, the starting 15, and also the bench that came on last week, our reserves that came on last week, I thought was very good. So, that performance has been rewarded, I suppose, and it's a great situation to be in, where you can roll out the same 23 from a quarterfinal into a semi-final. So, real testament to our players and a real testament to our athletic performance staff and medical staff.
Can you replicate that performance, or is that a trap that you actually need to be slightly different in this game, that no two games are alike?
Yeah, no two games are alike. So, and you never actually replicate. What you want to try and replicate is the energy and the physicality and the intent and the want. So we certainly hope to replicate that, and we'll need to bring that, because the Stormers at home, as we know, their record's very good here. They'll have a huge vocal crowd behind them, but I know that if we can bring that same intent, then we'll certainly ask some questions of them. What we need to be better at, though, William, I still think, and we as a team, we know that we left points out there last week and we didn't finish off some of the opportunities. So we actually don't want to replicate. We want to go better, which is a positive way to go into this game. We know we're going to need to be better, and we have to be more clinical and take those chances, which we didn't do as well last week.
Yeah, they're missing Faree and Ori, who are two key men for the way they play. Is it an advantage? I know referees are neutral, but is it an advantage that you have a referee who potentially referees the breakdown more in the Northern Hemisphere style than the Southern?
Well, listen, I mean, Mike's been refereeing this whole season. He's refereed the South African teams. South African teams have been refereed by Mike and by other referees that referee in the Northern Hemisphere. So I think that'll even itself out. The one thing we know, that Mike came from the sevens background. He likes that open game of rugby. Both teams like to play that open game of rugby. So I think you'll see a lot of rugby there tomorrow, which is a good thing. We had a meeting with him this morning, and there was nothing that stood out. It's semi-final time, so we've been able to watch the way he's been refereeing. We're quite happy the fact that he's got that the whistle tomorrow afternoon. So I'm sure it'll be a great game of rugby.
But it's, as you say, it's a semi-final. Does this feel like a culmination of 5 years work that Andy Friend has put in with various coaches along the way, and players who were there on day one who are now here tomorrow, or players that have come in recently? Does that feel that the Connacht have sort of climbed the mountain at this stage and they've got the chance to go for the top?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the timing of it's pretty special, because as you know, this is the last season I'm going to be here. had we not been here, I still would have been extremely proud of the work that has gone in by myself and others over the last 5 years. And I believe, the club's in a healthy spot. I think where it's ended up, there's a bit of fortune with that too, but fortune that we've had some doing in as a collective. It's not about what I've done here. It's about us as a club and us as a team and the way that we continue to build. And that's probably the thing I'm most pleased with is, I think with every season, for various reasons, we've had changes and we've had some ups and downs, but I do believe we've been going the right direction. And I know that, with Pete Wilkins coming in, they'll continue on that upward curve or that upward trajectory, which is what you want within a team. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm really proud of that. And we're really looking forward to this brilliant challenge and opportunity tomorrow.
What's the key for you to get the right result, to get the performance that leads to the result? What do you have to get absolutely spot on?
Well, the physicality needs to be there again. You know that. I mean, they've got some big X factor players, so we're going to have to defensively front up there, and it's going to take some scramble. It's going to take some bodies in front, and that's going to be a big battle. But the second thing is we will create and we will be presented with opportunities tomorrow. We've got to be good enough to finish those. You can't win semi-finals if you leave too many of those out. So we know that they are extremely good when they get into the opposition 22. We need to be as good, if not better, when we get into their 22 tomorrow. And I think the team that takes the most of the opportunities that they create is the team that's going to win tomorrow afternoon.
We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a cracker. It's the biggest game Connacht have played since the final in 2016. Wish you and all the team well, and we'll talk again after the game. Thank you.
Thanks very much, mate.
Thanks, William. Okay, we will get going with everybody else. We'll start with John Fallon. John, do you want a live question or do you want to go into embargo?
Live is fine, actually, Stephen. Makes no odds. The countdown is on. The countdown is on at this stage. So, Andy, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Just to follow on from something William was saying there, I mean, I'm mindful of the fact we'll say you came in 2 years after 2016. There was a rebuild taking place both on and off the pitch. What would it mean for both you and for Connacht to win this and get to a final where you're going to be playing either Leinster in the Aviva or Munster in Thomond Park?
Oh, it'd be huge, John. I think every team, the start of this season, there were 16 teams that had a burning desire to get to the final. And at the moment there's 4 teams left and we're one of those. If you could be one of 2 teams left, that would be even more special. So we're all aware of the prize that lies ahead, but we've got 80 minutes to put in a really, really probably the best performance of our season to see whether that will come true or not. So it would be very special. But to be honest with you, John, we're not looking too much beyond the kickoff time of 4 o'clock here tomorrow, which is where that's the only thing we can control. And I'm sure at about 6 o'clock tomorrow we'll know the outcome of that.
I think if I'm correct, I think you have 5 survivors from the 2016 final. Has 2016 been referenced at all this week, and just the magnitude of where you're, the cusp of what you're on at the moment?
No, it hasn't. Certainly not within team meetings, and I doubt actually whether other players are talking about that, because for a start, we're not at that final yet. We've had a semi-final, and we've still got a set of massive challenge yet opportunity ahead of us. So no, we haven't talked about that, which I don't even think it hasn't even been mentioned, to be honest with you. It's all about what we can do this weekend and how we need to best prepare, and I think we've done that.
Yeah, and finally for me, have you done anything different this week? Is there anything special? Anybody doing a jersey presentation? Is it just same as you did last week and same as the week before? Oh,
we jumped on a plane for 18 hours, mate. That's probably the only different thing we did, which was a bit tricky. Like our Monday was a very different Monday to what we've ever done. But no, in terms of anything to recognise the occasion, no, we haven't. And again, so we're not at the final. We're at a semi-final, and that, whilst that's special, I said you want to get yourself into the big one. So let's see how we go tomorrow afternoon. If if we can play the brand of footy I know we can play, and we can be as brave as we were last week, I've no doubt we're going to ask some serious questions. It should be a great contest because, as we know, the Storm is a very good side. But no, listen, we haven't done that, mate. We're just trying to keep things as even as we can and get out there tomorrow and put on our best display.
Listen, best of luck, and we'll see you in Galway next week. Thanks, Andy.
John. Thank you.
Thanks, John. We'll come to Stephen now next.
Thanks very much, Andy.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good and you, man.
Very well, thank you.
Andy, you spoke about being more clinical than on attack. If one looks at all those opportunities that you created against Ulster. In that context, the Stormers minus Dion Fourie, to what extent do you think that takes the sting out of them on defense? Because obviously the defensive breakdown, is a huge thing for them, and even Ori line-up defense is quite important. So do you think those two injuries, Fourie in particular, perhaps has maybe made it a bit easier for you on attack?
No, listen, we won't fall into that trap, mate, of thinking it's going to be easier. They're a quality rugby side. I know John. John's a quality coach. Ideally, you want to have your best players out there, but if your best players can't get out there, there's always someone sitting in behind who's been waiting for an opportunity, and no doubt they'll take that opportunity tomorrow. So no, we're under no false illusion after seeing that team that there's still going to be a great contest, and we're going to have to be on our best to win that. So it's disappointing for him that he's not there. Players want to play in the biggest stages, and tomorrow offers up a pretty big stage. So I'm disappointed for him that he's not there, but for us, it doesn't change anything.
And the Stormers transition game, obviously that presents itself a danger in itself as well. Is that a matter of you guys, having to look after the ball, kicking accurately? How could you take that dynamic out of it?
Yeah, they're a team that, as results and stats will tell you, if you're loose against them and you give them opportunity, they've got X factor players that are very, very hard to stop. So listen, that'll happen tomorrow too. There will be errors. We will turn the ball over. We will potentially kick poorly. They will probably do the same. So it's just trying to minimize those. And then when those errors happen, it's how do we react to that, and can we stem the bleed, if you like. So we know we're not going to play a perfect game tomorrow. We know errors will occur, and we're just going to have to be on our game and on our guard. If they do occur, we're going to have to react pretty damn quickly, because they're a side that can really sting you with that.
Great, thanks very much.
Thanks, Stephen.
We'll come to Robbie next for 2 questions.
Hi, Andy. I know you're probably fed up with answering questions at this point about sort of leaving the position, but and hopefully this will be the last one, but I can't help wondering, now that you've seen where the team has come to from the time you started to where we are now in the semi-final of the United Rugby Championships, I just wonder, how much satisfaction do you take that when you step away, you've left a pretty solid foundation for the next guy to step into?
Yeah, I think our job as coaches, director of rugby in my current role, is to try and leave somewhere in a better spot. And I do believe that the club's in a really good spot. I know when I came in 5 years ago, we had some work to do, and collectively we've done that work. But the work will be ongoing. As we know, there's huge ambition and belief within Connacht itself. We've got a new stadium to build. We're back in Champions Cup next year, which is brilliant for the club. We weren't in that this year, so that was disappointing. But to get ourselves back in there is really positive. I believe there's a really good squad has been assembled. There's a really good coaching team and coaching ticket being assembled, and that's the great work of Tim Allnut, Willie Ruan, Pete Wilkins. Those boys have done a tremendous job, and so I will leave and walk away very, very proud of the involvement that I've had there, but knowing that there's really good people involved in the club, and we'll continue to take this club forward. So it's a satisfying feeling. To be honest with you, though, I want us to get to that final. So if we can get there, then I'll be enormously proud and enormously satisfied.
Just want to focus real quick on 1 or 2 areas of the team. how important are some of the members of the 2016 team going to be for this weekend's match and potentially the final as well? I'm thinking of guys like Dennis Buckley, Finlay Bealham, who were there in 2016. Not too many of this team have been in, we'll say, knockout rugby. Have you been leaning on those guys for their experience to some of the younger guys around the team?
Yeah, I mean, those names you mentioned there and others, they seem to come to the fore when you come to these big games, and you get into big games, big knockout games like we're in tomorrow, and you need the big name players, the players with experience to step up. They did that last week for us, and I've no doubt they'll do it again tomorrow. So yeah, there hasn't been a zone in focus on those blokes, but just naturally, because they're now the more senior players, they have just taken another step forward, and you know, I did a count there yesterday on the 23-man team. There were, before I came in, the 13 players that hadn't played a game for Connacht Rugby. So we've got some real good youth in there as well, which is pleasing. I think you need that blend of both. So we've got the experienced players there who've been to a final before. We've got other players who have been involved before I arrived, and now we've got 13 young bucks who, young or older bucks, who have come in, and there's a real good blend there. So I'm really happy with really happy with the leadership that the senior blokes have taken. They're going to need to continue to deliver that tomorrow. But also our young blokes, they've taken on some real leadership responsibilities too. Niall Murray's leading our line out at the moment, and going great guns with that. So yeah, that's pleasing to see too. It's not just all weight on the more senior blokes. There's young fellas stepping up and taking some control as well.
Thanks, Robbie. We'll go into the embargo section if anyone wants to come in, or are we happy to leave it there?
I've just got one more question. Is that okay?
No, we're doing 2 questions each. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Thanks a million, Andy. Best of luck at the weekend. Cheers.
Okay, guys, we'll leave it there.
David, just Jarek Foley. I didn't realise there was going to be no embargo. Tell me, has anybody contacted you from our diaspora, as we call them? Dina Quinnigan's a former Connacht Interprovincial, former Ireland World Cup captain. John Robbie's out there. Has anybody been on to the squad at all to say hello or goodbye or anything?
No, mate, I haven't heard from anyone there.
Okay, second question. Tell me, up to the time Bundy got red carded in the other match, but was there a chance of winning it, do you think? Were you still competitive, or were you beginning to flag?
No, I thought we were coming back into the game. That was on the 60th minute mark. And in fact, from memory, I think the score was 19-8, something like that. If we get that score and we ended up scoring under the post there, and I've no doubt we would have kicked the goal. Connor Fitz was at 10 that day. Then we would have gone to 19-15, but instead of that, we had that try chalked off, and we had a red card. So it goes back to 19-8 now against 14 players, and from that ensuing line out, they score a try. So to me, we were right back in that game. We were, we worked hard through the opening 60 minutes after what was a really good start by the Stormers, and we clawed our way back, but it sort of turned itself on its head there. So we haven't really focused on that, to be honest with you, Derek. We focused more on the last 5-6 games that we've played, and where we've started to play some really positive rugby and probably our best rugby. And he's hoping tomorrow's even our best game of the season.
Sorry, that's great, mate. Thanks a lot. Best of luck, Andy. All right, see ya. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Mick.
Thanks, Stephen. Hi, Andy. How are you? Andy, how are you? How's it going? Just wondering, in terms of, like, given the last few weeks and this week, do you have to keep your emotions in check? The way, obviously you're coming to the end. I know you kind of touched on it a bit there in the live section, but do you actually willingly have to keep your emotions in check and just get on with the job?
I don't want to sound cold, mate, but I haven't actually been emotional with it. I have no doubt there'll be a time when I will be, when it all finishes, but that time's not now. Like, I found it really awkward, the Cardiff game, because that was our last home game. And my brother was over from Australia. We had a lot of family and friends there, but I didn't have an ounce of emotion. I was just stoked that we won that game, that we had another game to go to. And it was very similar last week. I was just stoked that we'd won that game, and we knew we had another game. So my wife often tells me I'm not emotional. I am emotional, but I'm able to hold it in check, and certainly at the moment I don't feel any wave of emotion other than utter excitement around what tomorrow brings, and an enormous belief in what we can achieve tomorrow. So that's where my emotions going at the minute. Might be a different story come the end of the game, but yeah, I probably doubt it, to be honest with you.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because like, it's not like the end of a league. It's 1 week could be just the end of it, or like last week could have been the end of it, but you're going on for another week of it. So it does kind of feel like a nice, great end to the adventure, one way or the other. Obviously, you want to go on for another week after, but it's kind of an exciting end, whichever way it's going.
Yeah, I mean, you start of every season said you want to get to the knockout stages, and you know, I know it's an easy thing to say, but when you are there, you know, we said this after the Glasgow game, boys, we're 3 wins away from holding the trophy. Well, we've had one of those games now, and we've had a win. So tomorrow brings the second opportunity for us, and if we can win tomorrow, then we've got one more. But you've got to take those each game as they come, and the brilliant part of it is, Mick, that we're here. So we give ourselves a 50-50 chance heading into tomorrow's game, and that's exactly where we want to be.
Lovely. Let's look at it.
Thanks, mate.
No one else?
Stephen, just one quick point. Andy, you mentioned there 13 of the squad that's out there had not played for Connacht before. Is that 13 out of the 29 or 13 out of
the 23, mate?
Out of the 23. Wow. Yeah, good stuff. Okay. Thanks, and best luck again. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much. We'll send on the recording in a bit, all right?
Thanks,
Cheers.
Stephen.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Andy. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.